Okay, so if your Keurig has died, it's like you got it plugged in and there's no power or whatever. You press the power button. Apparently, it's a really common problem with Keurig. They have a temperature sensor on here that you can't reset. So once it trips, it's to somebody who doesn't go and dig through the internals, it's you just have to throw it away or send it to get it repaired or something or other. But you can save a buck, and it's like 3 screws on the bottom of this thing and a couple of tabs that you got to kind of bend back. It's a little tricky. There's YouTube videos for it. That's how I did mine. But you pull the cover off, and there's this little sensor. You see the little. You see that little circular thing right there with it has the 2 prongs and it has the hole in the center? That is the thermosensor, and once it hits a certain temperature, it just stops working. You can test it with a multimeter, continuity, and if it's stripped or whatever, you just put them on there, with that power off, unplugged. You can test continuity and nothing will work. So that little hole in the middle of there is where you reset it. So you see a little bobby pin or something or other in there, and kind of depress it, and then you could test continuity again. It should beep and it should be working again, and then you can plug things together. You can plug it back into the wall. I'm supposed to say, put the cover, put it all back together. No, make sure it's working before you put it all back together, and just don't touch anything. It'll be fine. So plug it back in and see if you got power. And once you got power, you might be done. But you need to run at least 1 cycle, because especially mine had been sitting up dry for a while. I hadn't made any coffee, and I didn't have any water in the reservoir. So the pumps weren't primed. So whenever I went to go run it again, it just tripped again. So I had to go and reset it, and then I ran it again, and it spewed a whole bunch of. I let it cool down. Between running it again, and I ran it again, and a bunch of steam came out, and then I ran it. Let it cool down, and then I ran it again, and finally it went through and everything operated correctly. So I'm about to do like a full descale thing, just to make sure everything's working properly. But before I put it back all together, you got to make sure that it's actually making coffee. So do yourself a favor, test it before you put it back together. This is the dumbest design. It's just, you should be able to just press a button and reset the thermocouple or whatever, thermo temperature sensor or whatever it's called. You should just be able to push a button and reset it, but it's deep in there, and you can save a buck, by taking it apart and doing this. There's YouTube videos for taking these things apart. It's a little tricky, but I have faith in you. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful.